Hello, everyone. It is Marriage Monday, and that means it's time for Brian and DeAndrea to go live. Tonight's topic is from one of our viewers. So, one of our viewers was kind enough to send in a topic request, and that request was to discuss how did we know that we were the one? How did each of us know that the other one was the one? So,
Is it how or when?
how?
I don't know how.
So, why don't you tell us when you first fell in love with hip hop?
Oh, I ain't see that movie. You did.
I don't care. You knew what I was
No,
talking about.
yeah, I
See?
seen that. That's
Uh
brown
huh.
sugar. And comic book. Anyway. Y'all not gonna believe me when I say this, but I don't know whatever day that was. We walked home because we had already started working together. We just didn't know it yet.
April 7th,
But
1990.
the day we walked home, I was like, "You're the one. You're the one for me." That I knew that was it. I should have just.
Hi
I
there,
knew it.
Tanisha.
I knew it when we was holding hands and walking home that day. I knew it. Like I knew it.
But what happened?
See, what had happened was I was very egotistical when I was younger. I was very egotistical.
Hi, Denise.
And instead of me saying, "Hey, girl, you got a boyfriend now," I was the dude who
That was
was
your
like,
pickup line.
"Oh, we wasn't finna do all that. Do you like me? Do I like? Nah.
Circle yes or no.
We going straight to the point. We go together now, okay?" Uh, Instead of me really bringing that to her attention that I liked her, that I really liked her, I was on the well. She gotta tell me she liked me, and I didn't know that she was the type of girl who was like, "Mm-mm.
I'm the lady.
If you like me, you gonna have to do some approaching, sir." And I was like, "Shit, duh, duh."
Hello, Elder
Um,
Anita. Y'all get him.
I said, "Duh, ma'am, this lady."
So he's talking about when we first met, which of course was back in 1990. We actually worked together. That's how we first met each other. Did not know when we met each other at our place of work
We could
that
tell where we worked. We worked at the King.
we met at Burger King. That's where we were both working. I was 17, he was 20. And it was in walking home, which he's just talked about. That day, we both worked the same shift, which was like 6 to 2. And it was in walking home that we realized that we actually lived across the street from each other.
Yeah. Where you going? Where you going is the question. Oh, I stay on the street. Oh, you do? Oh, so do I. Oh, you stay. But see, we.
So fast forward, because even though we met back in 1990, and we were friends, we were strictly friends, nothing more.
She threw that boy in the friend zone like, we good,
We
player.
were strictly friends. Um, yeah,
I knew.
he'd come
Listen,
by every now and again,
listen.
get some good down home advice.
I was goofy.
He was.
I was goofy because I didn't know how to. Uh, I knew I liked her. Like I liked her conversation. I liked her style. I liked the fact that we could sit around each other. It wasn't no sexual tension. Wasn't no none of that. It was like, dang, she cool like that. Only problem was me and my. It was me and my ego. I see what had happened was I used to be the ugly duckling. Like I was that dude that got talked about. Well, going through that preteen stage. Only thing was missing, I ain't had bad skin. I'm glad that, but I had the glasses, big glasses. I was skinny. Woo. Then I drunk milk, and I kind of got a little size to me, and you couldn't tell me doodle stink. Like you couldn't tell me that the girl you want me Yeah, yes, you do. Cause look at me. And
Lord have mercy.
I'm just telling the truth. I was horrible. And
Tanisha has a good question. So Tanisha's joining us from YouTube. It says, do y'all believe that you should date a certain amount of time before becoming a couple?
yes.
So I'll let you go first because I got a different opinion.
Well, I think you should at least get to know the person because people. I don't. I feel like you should at least go on a couple of dates, a breakfast date, a lunch date, and a dinner date at least.
I think before you start dating, that you should get to know each other. You don't necessarily get to know each other on a date. Um, and what that means is, yeah, sometimes you got to play 20 questions. You need to communicate, whether it is over the phone, by text, whatever. Talk to each other before you meet in person, because once you meet in person, there are other expectations that come into play. You got to get to know somebody. I am a firm believer in being friends first. Me and him were friends for almost 25 years before anything, as far as an intimate relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. We were friends first. And quite honestly, at the stage where I was in my life, and I know a lot of us on here are, we no longer in our 20s. I'm not going to say we older, but we ain't in our 20s no more. So
I'm older.
I would say
I'm older. I'm sorry. She can.
he in a different generation.
Right. Right. I'm in a different club.
But he wouldn't have had a chance if we weren't friends first. The only reason I entertained him as an option was because we were friends and I knew him already. So, if we're going to fast forward and we're going to tell our story.
Wait.
We're not there yet?
No.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, you got to. So, the second time I had the opportunity to voice my, hey, I like you, and we should cut out all the middleman and just be a couple. Well, once again, it wasn't my ego this time. This time, it was a bad. It was the opportunity wasn't that great. What was going on at that moment? We was
dealing with a lot of
with
stuff.
a whole lot. So it was like, yeah, no, and
so no. When we reconnected, the timing was not good for either of us.
See, we got something. It's two reconnections.
Okay.
So when she was in her teens, I blew that opportunity. So fast forward a couple of years, I was like 24, maybe 23, 24. And I had came to my senses that I liked her. Like I like her. Didn't work out because once again, the situation was kind of awkward because of course her interest was elsewhere, and we and her liking that we like somebody else. I ain't really messing with you. I see you, but I'm over here.
So this was in the day and age of house parties, and I was having a house party at my place, and I invited him because we were friends. Did not know that he had feelings for me. So there was another gentleman that I was interested in that I also invited.
Yeah, I had the boo face the whole hookup.
So that was the second go around. Now, if you're gonna tell the story, you gonna tell it all?
No, because some stuff you gotta omit to protect the not so innocent. Hold on, pimpin'. Whoa there. Columbo tried to tell the whole Kojak.
I was just gonna tell him about my book recommendation I gave you.
Oh, that was funny. No, we don't need to.
All right.
No, that's fun. Okay, so this is funny. This is funny. This one I call myself being the thug. Yeah, I thought I was a thug, so I, do thug stuff. Anyway, young and dumb and thinking I.
He'll come back.
And this person gonna say, you ain't no thug. Go read a book. That man put my whole when when the person who softer and kind tell you you not a thug, you probably want to put. I had to put some stuff into perspective. Like, dang, she ain't even respect my pimping.
All right, so we not at the engagement yet, Elder Anita. We gonna get there in a minute. Tanisha said, "You know how Mr. Bryan, you said you knew she was one. How did you really decide that she was it, and you decided to leave the others alone? What stood out for the both?" So I'll go first. When we reconnected
The
this
third
final
time.
time, the third time, when we reconnected this third time, um, truth be told, and I don't think I've ever admitted this publicly, but when he and I reconnected, there were actually two other men who had asked me to marry them.
Bowls.
There were two other men who asked me to marry them the same year that Brian did. Um, I did not try. He knew all about it. I mean, I wasn't.
That was no secret.
It wasn't no secret. It was what it was. So I knew that the other two was not it because there was some comparison going on. I'll get there in a minute. There was some comparison going on. It was like, okay, yeah, well, he got and he got but I knew that neither one of them was a good fit. I'll get to how special I am in just a moment. But the reason that things, I knew that he was the one was because there was no comparison. There was no, well, he meets these categories, but not these categories. And what was that we said back then? I don't remember how we said it, but in either event, I knew that neither one of them was it. And, he kind of checked all the boxes.
This lady gonna say to me, her man situation was handled.
So he asked me, was I seeing anybody? At the time I was, and that was my response. My man's situation is handled.
I got this thing about me where I call BS. So I had to test the waters. We was on the phone listen, when I say all night like teenagers, I think I called her about 3 or 4 o'clock, 5, 6, somewhere in there.
It was about 6 in the evening, and we talked to about 4 in the morning.
We talked. I'm talking about everything. Just go on your list and just that, that, and that, and that. And then I said out the blue, like, your dude ain't even call you. Then she messed me up with this one. Yeah, he did. I just didn't.
I didn't click over.
Cha-ching, that's a point for me, because when you with somebody or you in a relationship with somebody and they call you, click, hey, let me call you back. This is my dude, but you don't answer. You don't be like my girl on the other end of boop, boop. You just look at the phone like, all right. So we had a lot of where we knew, okay, something is gonna aspire from this. Now I'm gonna tell you, this lady right here, boy, she don't play around. When she with you, she with you. When she in a relationship with you, she with you. Everybody else is cut like unwanted draft picks. Me, on the other hand, I still had the mentality just in case, and let me explain why. I always sabotage relationships myself because it was like, if I want to be bothered with somebody or if I want to get out of it, I'm gonna do something or say something that, give me a get out of jail free card.
We actually both had that in common, and we both have admitted that we are a lot alike. Like, I'm the female version of him, he's the male version of me. And we both, quite honestly, we both had a contingency plan until we no longer had a contingency plan. So the two men that I mentioned that, had asked me to marry him before him, I knew that neither one of them was it because, obviously if I got to kind of go back and forth and try and figure out, well, which one is it, it's neither one of them. So, it was pretty easy to exit stage left with them, which is why it's important to get to know people first. Don't just jump in a relationship with somebody. Don't just get committed to somebody. Figure out what it is about them. Get to know them beyond just a casual conversation. He's so wrong.
It's little things. Like if you in the bed with that person and you roll over, like just look at them first thing in the morning.
We talk about before we get to that.
Listen. Okay, holding hands. If you hold that person's hand and it feel icky or like, you probably don't want to be. Nah, I'm not kicking with you. The first time I held her hand was like, it's over. It was over. Like, because we both did something at the same exact time, and that just blew.
And if you don't know about holding hands, this thing
where we
don't hold hands normally. There's a lot of things we don't do normally,
right?
But you can't really see it. But with our thumbs,
right here,
we both rub our thumbs.
That was it.
We both rub our thumbs when we're holding hands. And the first time we held hands, and both of us did that, it was kind of like,
you do that.
You do that too.
That's something as simple as that. That messed me up because
nobody else had ever.
Nobody ever did that. No, I was like, because to me that's, I don't know, it's a sign or a signal, like,
So Tanisha, to answer your question, it's not that it's one particular thing that you're looking for that says, boom, this is the person. It is just smaller confirmations that let you know, yes, this is the person that I'm supposed to be with. It's more than just a checklist.
Right.
It's more than just, well, do they have this or do they check these boxes? We all got our list, but then, if we have our list, how much of that list is fantasy?
Yeah.
How much of that list is just kind of the white picket fence and, the things that we've been wanting since we were little versus what you're dealing with in actuality. And so often, particularly women, we have this fantasy about, we're dealing with this one person and we're looking at them, and instead of looking at them for how they actually are, we done painted this picture of who they could be or what it could be versus looking at the reality of the situation. And that's why it's so important not to become intimate immediately, not to, give yourself to this person, because it clouds your judgment, it clouds everything else, and you can't think clearly. And I always say, and this is true in so many applications, if you listen to somebody long enough, they will tell on themselves. They will tell you everything you need to know. And most of the time we miss the red flags because we've gotten intimate with them. We've engaged in a way that we shouldn't have. And now we digmatized and everything else because come on, straight. We can't think straight because all this other stuff is getting in the way.
Listen, I knew first of all, without even having a checklist, the more I was around her, the more it was like, you're an idiot. You should have did this way back like 25 years ago, stupid. Because I was just looking at her one day like, first of all, she's smart as a whip. Like, not just book smart, but I ain't afraid to take her on the block. Like, we can go on the block and I know they not supposed to know that. Whatever. If we gonna listen, if we gonna tell
back to back.
Like, you can't be with a person and you can't take them in every environment. You can't take them everywhere. If you gotta be like, no, you can't go with me this time. No, we supposed to be, listen, as
whatever go down.
As special as I am, she know if she say, hey, we going here to be around certain people, she know I could tone it down and not be Brian. I can. How you doing? Yes, okay. Oh yes, the
we both know how to code like switch real well.
I just look like this. Where she be like, okay, we going here, bet. The hat goes straight. Glass is good, because you got to be with a person that you know on every level, and just being around her and don't get me, listen, please understand. I was super special the first 4 years we was together. The first 4 years we was together. I was super duper. I was super. So I put her through like the ringer. Like, she could have got away with some. I ain't gonna incriminate ourselves.
So Tanisha asked, were we both comfortable dating several people at a time? So let me clarify. I was talking to several people at a time. I wasn't necessarily dating several people at a time. And
Maybe you
there's a
should explain
difference.
to the youngster what talking is. 'Cause remember back in the day when you asked a girl for their number, she'd be like, I'm talking to somebody. Dude, like, well, you can't have friends. So you got to explain that talking was different.
I was not dating two people at the same time. And just because both of them asked me to marry them doesn't mean that we were in a committed relationship. We were not.
Especially corporate number to know.
We're not saying no names.
No, I'm to protect the innocent. No, he definitely wasn't in the.
We're not saying no names.
running.
But as far as your question, you asked, did it ever pose a problem? No, it didn't, because everybody knew what was going on. I believe in being very open and very transparent. So the first gentleman that I started talking to, when I say talking to, we were literally talking on the phone. Getting to know each other. We were getting to know each other. We were talking on the phone and getting to know each other. And the second gentleman, we were in a social group together. Without disclosing too many details, we were in a social group together, and we would see each other so often or what have you. And he wanted to be with me, and I told him up front, same way I told him up front that I was talking to someone. And again, he still pursued me. He brought, bring me flowers and all kind of other stuff. But everybody knew exactly what was going on.
I'm not bringing no flowers.
Hush.
I don't like that.
So even though I was talking to two people at the same time, no, it did not pose a problem. Everybody knew what was going on. Everybody knew their place. Everybody knew exactly what was going on, which is why it wasn't an issue. Had I been talking to one and sneaking around and talking to the other one, and neither one of them knew about each other and all the rest of that, that'd be an entirely different story. But I believe in being transparent. I'm gonna let you know what's going on. If you okay with it, I'm okay with it. If you're not, you can exit stage left, because it's my life. I do what I want to. So that's where I was at the time. And then, he came along, told him too, my man's situation is handled.
That BS, I called it. I don't believe you.
So I was quite content with where I was, because I wasn't really looking for nothing.
That's why you like that song, don't you?
I'm really looking.
Just to have a good time.
That's it. So anyway, I was able to be myself with him. That was another factor in understanding, okay, this is different. I was able to be myself with him, and there were no pretenses. Yeah. There was no, I didn't have to try and be the trophy girlfriend. I didn't have to try and, be someone I'm not. I could be very much myself, full throttle. I didn't have to fit in any boxes.
But that's how we were from day one, even when we first met.
Yeah, my man's situation's handled. That was my line.
Listen, that was really her. See if I was really interested in her. That was a bait. That was the bait. If I would have said, "Okay, we good, let's just be friends," we wouldn't even talk. Cause to her, it's like there was
no pursuit.
That's it.
If he had said, "Okay, good," then okay, good.
All right, then lose my number.
No, look. Men are naturally hunters. They want to pursue.
The problem with that was, I dealing with somebody who her brain don't work like ordinary people.
That's it.
So it was a lot of times that I thought I was doing something slick. I give you examples. So
before you get that example, because there's still some points that we need to clarify, because we said that we both had contingency plans, and it's kind of like the little black book. Like, okay, if this don't work out, I can still call this person over here and be entertained.
I'm gonna keep because that's what it was.
It was just entertainment. It wasn't nothing deeper than that. It was like, okay, if I get bored, I call this person over here, or I can text this person over here, and they will entertain me.
It was being in my situation not sure, because
you never had to.
Even though I didn't. It was always this whatever with me. Even in my first two marriages, it was still this whatever, because I don't know how you gonna wake up tomorrow. You might be on some BS, and if I'm not getting caught with my drawers down. You're not finna know. So if you hit me with I gotta go, bet I had a plan B because I knew you was good. She just came through and was her realness. And don't listen. It's not that I haven't been with. I can name two. I'm not gonna say their names, but it was two women before that was. They was real. They was about they, but it's how they went about it that irritated me. Sheeta, if you ask me, you better put on your seatbelt and your helmet.
Don't ask me a question you don't want me to answer.
And I like that because I don't like to be taken for a long ride just for you to tell me something.
So if you're taking notes, there has to be some mental stimulation. Don't think it's all about the physical body.
No,
it's not about the physical body because whatever you offering, guess what? Somebody else got the same thing.
Or better. And you mad because that person done dipped on you and found a bigger car that drives smoother. Oh, that's a nice Pinto, but I found a. So
do we recommend that people should or shouldn't date several people at the same time? No, you got to do what works for you. Yeah. That was me. I would not suggest that because everybody can't handle stuff in the same way. And that was years ago. You might not
the way the
want
game
to do that.
Now because people be on some stuff. Why you getting weird on me type stuff? And it's like, bro, we was just talking.
So what? And I know this is not an interview type setting, but what exactly do you mean about, especially as a Christian man or woman? Because it should not matter. Christianity is a lifestyle. It's not just about, oh, I'm Christian. No, if you are professing Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you shouldn't have to have that caveat as, oh, by the way, I'm Christian, or oh, by the way, I'm celibate, or oh, by the way, anything. Who are you presenting yourself to be? And that's it.
That just kill it right there. A person you probably want to get to like in the conversation and get to know that person and probably wait down because unless that person say they're looking for this type of person, you kind of keep all those things under your hat until as needed.
And so what we don't realize is being a Christian means different things to different people.
Yeah.
So what I say, if I say, oh, I'm a Christian woman, or you say you're a Christian woman, or he say you're a Christian man, that could be very different because we all have different understandings of what that is, right. Which is why that conversation is so important. Mm-hmm. I don't have to say I'm a Christian, but the questions I ask you and the responses you give me is going to tell me everything I need to know. So another good point. Anita says mental stimulation is like number 2 for me. 1 is Jesus, but I get bored easily.
Girl, yeah.
Let me say this. Because one of those 2 gentlemen that I was just talking about thought he was going to up his game by showing up at church.
No, sir.
And, going back to that Christian man, Christian woman, just attending church don't mean nothing to me. You have to be able to handle me and cover me spiritually. And that is no easy task. So just showing up for church and thinking that, okay, if I come to church, then that's going to win me some brownie points. Nuh-uh.
See, we alike when it comes to that. Just because you play a video game with me, don't mean we go to the next level.
Just because you can play a good hand of spades.
Just because you, no, that's a perfect example. Oh, wait, though. That's a good. So the first time we played spades together was awesome also. Because mind you, we never played cards together, ever. I'm talking about in the whole time we've been knowing each other, we never played cards together. So we go to my mama's house, woo-woo. Mama get talking, let's play spades. You play spades. First of all, you do have to ask people because all black people don't play spades. Let's make this clear. She said, yeah, I play. We both said the same thing to each other, which once again let me know, this the one right here. Don't renege or I'm not ever playing with you again. You
ever. Not ever.
Yeah. So it's certain things like it's little. What's the
idiosyncrasy?
Yeah, that made me even that. Like it was certain looks she would do that she would know she was doing, and I would just look at her and be like, "That's my girl." Because
Charlotte.
It's certain things you look at, like her. The first time she smiled for real, because in the beginning she wasn't smiling for real, and I knew that. And I used to look at her like, we not doing this. That I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna get through. I used to work on my material and she wouldn't laugh. That insulted me. Like, I'm baby Richard Pryor. You supposed to laugh. Ain't nothing funny. She was at a place where it wasn't nothing funny, wasn't nothing worth laughing about, wasn't nothing. It took me a long time to understand why. Like, it took me being around her and understanding us talking. Just like it was certain things about me. She was like, oh, you don't really know. Not really. So the more we talked to each other, it was like, okay.
Have some conversation.
Listen, and we discovered the same thing about each other. If you ain't really talking about nothing, stop talking.
I can't stand small talk.
Listen, I found that out, and then she kind of discovered, like, oh, okay, he's smarter than just 1 + 1 = 2, C spot run. Like, oh, he can. It kind of, the look of her. So this funny to me, and she never thought that I paid this any attention. So one day we got into a nice conversation where it took your brain muscles was like, yes. And she was looking at me and all like, oh, we could think, oh my God. And she didn't say it, but the look on her face was like, oh, okay. Because she was kind of throwing stuff out and we was talking. And I'm like going with her, like, yeah, oh yeah. I said, oh, he, okay. So that kind of impressed her that, oh, he can talk. He can have a conversation that's more than, the elementary, like I said, C spot run, chase, cat loves dog. No, when she say mental stimulation, she don't be playing, bro. Some days I had to be like, hey, ma'am, my head hurt. Can we take a break? Because now we good.
So in the conversation, you will find out of where they are spiritually and everything else. So it wasn't that, had to ask specific questions. I listened very well. So I found out everything that I needed to know. Tanisha said what I meant is because people look at Christians and expect so much more from us.
But how can you
expectations, period, have to be discussed, regardless of what the title is. Expectations got to be discussed.
But how can
and I don't believe in categorizing. Don't categorize me like that.
Because I'm gonna fry you like bacon. I don't, because even at work, they trying to say their little slick remarks, and I have to remind them, I ain't always been saved, buddy. I hit you in the throat. Don't talk to me like that. And then I go back. Good day, sir.
Y'all pray for him.
Listen. All I'm gonna say is Peter. Peter will cut you, okay? Saved and sanctified, Peter will stab you in a minute. This woman and being with somebody who know you without you all the time, having to say stuff, and I'm the same way with her. She'll look at me sometimes and she'll know I'm feeling a certain way. I had to get act right, because the first 4 years I wasn't acting right. I wasn't acting right, y'all. And she was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna have to cut him. I wasn't thinking I was gonna have to catch a case. I'm a whole Christian lady. I gotta kill this man." But then she started going to her prayer closet and she started talking about me, like, you need to talk to him.
So the question that I asked before I committed to him only was, I had to make sure that I was looking at him in his current state and not what I thought and not looking at what I knew he could be or could become. And a very wise person told me to ask myself that if I'm okay with where he is today, if he never changes, if he never does anything different, then, go ahead and, consider moving forward. But if I wasn't okay with that, then, why even waste any more time? Why invest any more time in this relationship if you knew that that wasn't acceptable to you? And beyond that, I knew, so my caveat was, like I mentioned earlier, I needed someone who was able to cover me spiritually, and that's no easy task. And that's not just something that you ask a question and can check a box like, oh, okay, we good. No, I had to kind of peel back the layers and see how he responded in various scenarios. And for those of you who are not in that inner circle and knows what that looks like, I experienced night terrors. I had a lot of spiritual warfare going on. Let's just say it like that. And as I began to peel back the layers and share those different aspects with him, number one, he wasn't scared. Number two, he ain't run. And number three, he figured out how to cover me without me telling him what to do. I don't want to have to tell you what to do because I got to tell you that's me putting too much effort in. I don't need to be bothered. I can do this myself. I don't need that. But I didn't have to tell him what to do in these different scenarios. He figured out, what needed to be done and was able to not only cover me, but help me to come out of those situations and be better myself.
That's what she did with me and my smoking and drinking. Cause I was determined not that those was my friends, y'all. Smoking and drinking was my buddies. And she was like, not today, not over here. But she never
wasn't even like that.
See, you ain't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
She ain't never bothered me about it. Like she never wet finger wagged. Man, it was kind of like it'd be times I'd be reeking and she wouldn't say nothing, but it'd be like, okay. She would kind of look at me and nod, and I know she was making mental notes of what to do and who to go talk to, because gradually, if anybody who read my book, and if you don't have it, see that cheap plug. But you have to be with somebody who can, show you that look, I'm for real with you. Because sometimes people see you in the raw. They quit. They
be like, I passed.
I'm straight. You special. Yes, I am. But it takes special people to deal with special people.
And I'm very special.
And, this is just my opinion about her. She needed a dude who wasn't going to be that you my woman and you going that ain't working with her. You ain't feeling you. Oh, I am. Oh, you okay? Yeah, okay. Watch me not pay you no attention, trying to tell me what I can and can't do. But see, that's how I am. So that's why we get along when it comes to that. But we make sweet suggestions, though. We'll kind of throw something out there like, yeah.
Everything is in how it's communicated.
Yeah. You have to know the person you with to how to deal. Like she not a woman. You better go. No, that's not good, because you got to kind of just know when.
So in the getting to know each other, in the asking the questions, in the figuring out who this person is, and not just what they tell you, but in you listening, active listening, and figuring out who this person is.
Right.
In doing all of that, you realize what their love language is.
Yeah.
In doing all of that, you realize what their apology language is. And in knowing those two things, you should know how to express yourself and how to communicate best with them. So, if you don't know those things, or if you're not familiar with it and don't know what to look for, then you got to invest something in yourself first. You gotta bring something to the table. You got to know what it is that you're looking for and know how to, in order to really be able to discern, okay, what am I looking for? What am I trying to pick up? What is it that I really want to know? All right, Anita says, part of building a relationship, getting to know each other, is being stable emotionally, mentally, truly understanding yourself. Definitely. So with that being said, what did you tolerate it for how long before you said something and before it got out of hand? Oh, nothing gets out of hand over here.
Don't do that.
Ain't nothing get out of hand. I don't nag. I don't believe in nagging. I don't want nobody doing that with me. So no, that's not going to work. And no, look, as a believer, we already know that God gave us dominion over everything except each other.
That's it.
So no, you cannot change a person. And if you're already healed and whole, or you already have a certain level of maturity, you understand you can't change anybody. Nobody can change you. So why would you try and turn around and change somebody else?
Control,
so no, try and change somebody out the question. Either you accept them as they are,
or keep it moving,
or you keep it moving. You going about your business.
Not only is communication important,
comprehension is more important than communication.
Because you could talk to somebody and you'll be sounding like Charlie Brown mama.
We could be reading the same book, but in two different chapters, in two different languages. So no, it's not just communication; it's comprehension.
Can you comprehend what
so what did you tolerate? Tolerate's an interesting word, because even with his addictions, you know, he tried to act like he had no issues at first.
No, I didn't. I can't.
Oh, we gonna go there?
I didn't act like I didn't.
Oh, so you never lied about it?
I ain't acting like I did.
Yes, it is.
I just want to not tell you. That's
okay.
Call it what you want.
So it wasn't about tolerating anything. I am a firm believer. I knew what I was getting involved with, and I knew what God told me. Now, if you have a relationship with God and you communicate with God, God will respond to you and let you know yay or nay. The problem is most of us don't talk to God about our decisions.
Nope.
And not only that, I have enough experience in not talking to God the first 2 times I got married. So, you know, I wasn't saved. I ain't talked to God. I ain't have a relationship with God. So this go around is like I'm asking God everything. So now, Shirley, you said, but not too much communication. You know what? You have to know the person before you share things with them. And that's why it's done in stages. I believe in being completely transparent and completely vulnerable. There are things that this man knows about me that no other living soul knows. There are things that I have shared with him that I would not say out loud, you know, ever. So you have to have somebody that you are not afraid to be vulnerable with. You have to have somebody that you are okay being transparent with. And I understand the caution there, because I shared some things with previous mates that, yeah, I shouldn't have, because they didn't deserve that. They didn't earn the merits to be able to handle that type of information. So it's about, you know, yes, you would think that, okay, this person I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, this person is my fiance, my, you know, husband to be, my wife to be, or whatever, could handle it. But in the pre-stage, before you get to the fiance, husband, wife, can they handle smaller things? And that's, you know, being a good steward over what we're given. If you can't handle this information, there's no way you can handle this over here. And I had a whole lot of baggage. So, and no, we ain't just talking about, you know, being divorced with 5 kids. I had baggage, and that wasn't it. So can you handle my stuff? Because my stuff comes with me. And until I'm able to unload that baggage, you're going to have to learn how to deal with it, or no, you ain't the one, you can keep it moving.
Yeah, that's about it in a nutshell. If you can't really talk to the person you with about intimate, you know, things that you wouldn't share. Like if I'm saying she my best friend, then yeah, and I can't. I don't think you should put a. I don't know. I guess you know what to say and what not to say, because I don't think people can handle everything about people until they really get to know them.
But if it's the right person, everybody can't handle it.
Of that.
Everybody can't handle it. And you got to recognize when somebody can't handle it, and not try and, again, that goes over into that fantasy, not try and make them something that you want them to be. Accept them for who they are. Look at exactly who they are. And when somebody reveals themselves to you the first time, believe them. That's where we mess up. We try and say, oh, well, he ain't really like that. Or we try and, you know, make it seem like this is not the case. No. When that woman or that man shows you how they really are, what they really think, how they really feel, believe them the first time. And that's why it's important to have those conversations, to figure all this stuff out before your physical body gets involved, before your emotions are even too deeply involved. You have to know how to restrain yourself and be disciplined enough to pay attention and study that other individual like it's a science experiment.
And a part of how I knew that this lady we supposed to been like together. It's certain songs I would listen to with other people that just didn't. Then I listen to them with her, and it's like, oh, that fits. That fits you. Oh, I can listen. So I don't know about you all, but I talk through my songs because sometimes I don't really know the exact words to say. So she could tell she could tell a lot about me, but what I'm listening to when we're in the room together. Like if I'm listening to some more rap stuff, she know, okay, I'm gonna go away from him because I am not finna listen to this all day. Or when I'm playing like certain songs, hey, have you see this? How you know somebody meant for you too when you listen to a certain song with them and you start crying with them. So
I'm going back way before that because at this house party that we were talking about earlier, when I went to pick him up, because I had a car back then, when I went to pick him up, I was playing a certain song that we will not disclose. I was
no,
playing a certain. We can't tell y'all that. I was playing a certain song, and I had it on repeat because I wanted it to be playing when he got in the car. Because at the time I was speaking through my songs too, so that's something that we shared in common. But he didn't pick up on the message.
She still speaks to her song.
I do. Because that's his, he likes music. So yeah, it's easy to speak through songs with him because he likes music. So,
hey,
yeah. I'll say this too, because when you find somebody that you truly can call a friend, and precious Lord, it's far from it.
Nah, I'm not even.
No, this is like in the early 90s.
This pre-saved.
Right. Way before salvation. Yeah, so no.
It was not precious Lord.
But not only is it important to find somebody that you can reveal who you are, but he knows my wants, my needs, my desires. And not only that, but Brian is attentive to me in a way that no other person has ever been. He studies me, he pays attention to not only my physical characteristics, but also my emotional fluctuations and everything else. So I don't have to tell him what's going on with me because he's perceptive enough to know and understand without me saying anything and respond accordingly. And that's what I needed. I don't want to have to tell you, okay, X, Y, and Z is what's going on. I need you to just pay attention and meet me where I am. And I try and do the same thing with him. When he's going through something, I'm there for him. When I'm going through something, he's there for me. And it just works. And when you are with the person that God ordained you to be with, it clicks like that. And absolutely, Charlotte, it is a tremendous blessing. And I'm grateful to God that I stuck it out through all of his silliness.
I wasn't being silly. I was being serious. That was me.
I'm talking about the whole 30-odd years.
No, listen. I'm not gonna take all the blame myself. It ain't no dudes.
I'm not blaming
whatever.
You. I'm just saying we both had to stick some things out.
She could have said some things too, but she didn't. She was being special. It was both of us. But I get it. We both was. I said like I was scared because
I'm a whole lot woman.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
I'm gonna say so. And you would have been like, turn the camera off. Play too much. You meet a person, and like I'm telling you, when you can look at that person in the morning, and you can say, "I'm glad you still here," or "You happy to be next to him." You ain't saying, "Hey, you still here?" Or you putting your finger on their nose. You hope. You just you don't understand. People don't understand you. When you could look, see, I like that I saw her from every angle. Just it wasn't no trying to be pretty all the time. And I told her, I was like, first of all, you pretty to me. I don't care what that old you are. Listen, don't do that, because she's kind of in the beginning. It was kind of like, well, I gotta get my. What is that you doing? Well, you can't see it. No. So to prove it, I would let a week or two go by without shaving. Huh? What you finna leave me because I look like I look like Grady now? This it. This the real me when I don't shave and want to see my armpits. Yeah,
My biggest concern coming into this relationship, because, obviously we're both older than when we first met, fast forward 25 years. My biggest concern was my health challenges. And again, that's not something I've discussed publicly, nor will I. But my biggest concern was, should my health deteriorate, will he be able to handle it? How would he respond if I'm no longer able to do all the things that I do just because of who I am by nature? So that was one of my bigger concerns. And of course, when the opportunity arose, he, you know, confirmed that, yep, he ain't going nowhere.
Nah, man. Which is this? But then we know this thing bigger than us. This is ordained. It's a reason why, because it, when I think about where her upbringing and mine, it's no way. It's no way.
So I'm gonna go back to Charlotte's point. We're not gonna talk about Judge Maybelline, but to her point, you can tell a lot about a man, since this comment is directed that way. You can tell a lot about a man by the way he treats his mother.
You sure you want to be with me the way I treat my mama?
I'm just gonna say you can learn a lot about a man by the way he treats his mother. So if he always running back and telling his mama everything you said,
you probably don't want to kick it with him.
That's a red flag for me. Not saying that. I'll just call it what it is. Not saying that mama's boy can't be in a healthy, mature relationship.
No, they can't be in a healthy relationship.
That's not the topic today. We're not gonna go there. But no, you have to know what you are willing to deal with or not, and that's a red flag for me. Listen, so
I love my mama. Well, my mama my mama gets no info, and I know that kind of irritate her because she be fishing sometimes, and I be like, I don't know what to tell you, lady. We good over here, even when we not good. I'm not telling you because we don't want that going through the family. Oh, let me know because I got ears, and they'll call me like, hey, mama said, see, nope. I know how to deal with my mama. She know I have to feel like it with my mama. You don't hear mama? She gonna go back and watch and be like, my son's special.
The phone gonna ring later on.
You know it is. What you mean you gotta feel like it with me?
We're just having a good time. So thank you for that question. If there are some other topics that you want us to talk about, just let us know and we'll try and incorporate it in the schedule. While I'm thinking about it, next week we are not having Marriage Monday. We won't be in the same locale at the same time on the same time zone. So
I'm on Tanisha. Yeah, I didn't really have a choice.
You always have a choice.
No, some things. Listen, some things you just got to do. I felt like if I would have just been like, well, I'm finna, that would have destroyed everything that I told her. That would have made me a liar. Because I told her I was going to be, I wasn't going nowhere, period. And another thing that I started telling her, and I'm much better at it, because I didn't want to be her problem. And I think that's very important. I say that to dudes at work, but I was like, man, you don't want to be your girl problem. Because it with all that she going through, she working, she dealing with this, she dealing with that, blah, 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 blah. That's all she need is me adding to the BS. That's not helping. So I started saying that too. I don't want to be your problem. And I started doing it. I started being it. Because at first she wasn't believing, like, I don't know that you saying it, but I'm not really sure you mean that. So as time went on, I started showing her, like, look, I'm serious. I don't want to be your problem. Because you got too much going on. And ain't no way. First of all, saying I love you and I care about you and all that come with it, and then being your problem. That's what that word. Not ludicrous. Yeah, that's that. It don't make sense. How you love somebody but you being their problem? No, that's. Mm-mm. So I really work hard and not being her problem.
And back to the changing people. So it's not just from the woman to the woman wanting the man to change. I had to make sure that I wasn't with somebody that expected me to change because that wasn't going to happen either. And in reviewing my options, that's how I'll phrase it. In reviewing my options, I needed to make sure because people will pretend for as long as they can. They'll
Yeah, they'll wear that
pretend.
mask for as long as they can.
Absolutely. And for example, you might say you're okay with my busy schedule and my busy
Right.
lifestyle, but then after you're in a committed relationship, they want you to not do
Start
this and
cutting that
not do
out.
that
Why
and
you
to
gotta
be at
do?
home more and all of this. And I need you to be okay with me if nothing changes, because if it does or if it doesn't, that would be up to me and not up to the person I'm with. So that was another huge aspect of it for me because my schedule is only going to change when I'm ready for it to change. I was doing this long before you came along. So,
She
you
stealing
know,
my line. I told her that. I said you
I
was busy
was.
way before. My thing is, I guess I'm easy to please anyway. Just I almost said it. just just show up. I don't do you. You been doing you. If it's irritating me, I'm gonna let you know. If it's trust me, I'm gonna let you know. But she been doing her.
Well, if they say they're okay with it after marriage, it changes.
Then they
So
lie. They ain't
that's
lying
one of
to
the
you.
things that I was very cautious about. And that's why, that I don't want to call it that dating period, but that getting to know you phase is so important because
No,
people can pretend.
they
They can
can.
act like they okay with something, but there are
It's
different
gonna come out.
they're different, I'll say activations, because
Right.
we teach, train, activate. They're different activations to be able to really tell what they're like in different scenarios. And that's what people need to be empowered with. So when I do premarital counseling, it's not your average, we just gonna sit up and talk about scripture. No, we gonna have some real conversations, and y'all might be uncomfortable with some of the
Somebody
things
gonna
that
be
I bring up.
mad when they
So
leave.
if they say they're okay and then now you married and things change, you reneged on your part of the
Yeah, you
deal.
big, bro.
So,
That's when big
a couple examples of what?
right.
Be a little bit more specific so I know what you're talking about. A couple examples of what?
I like looking at your face. Wah, wah, wah. I'm gonna get the song, put a nice beat to it. That'll become a hit.
What kind of examples are you talking about? Because I need to
Yeah,
just get a little more
we
specific.
need a little bit of. I don't know. Oh,
You said there are some things you can do to know. Oh boy. So some things you can do to know. So it's similar to, so I'll use this as an example. And this is, really finding out if that person is prone to anger or not. I talked about before
slap
about
them.
playing.
you'll,
No.
You'll find out they got angry issues when they start Tasmanian devil on you. Oh yeah, you got okay.
Sports.
Check that out.
If I gave the scenario about how the young woman brought a young man home and she had brothers and a dad. The brothers and dad played basketball with them, and of course basketball, contact is going to be made, and you can figure out if somebody is prone to anger or not by how they respond in a simple game.
Foul too, because if you foul me hard, all that being nice go out the window.
But I need to see. It's not anything wrong with becoming upset because everybody got a trigger. Everybody got something that's going to make them upset. It's about how you handle yourself and how you treat others when you're upset, because emotions are natural. Emotions are not good or bad. And I can't emphasize that enough because I've done enough research to be able to help myself with my own anger issues to know the emotion is not bad. It's what you do once you have that emotion, once you're there, once you're upset, once you're angry, once you're whatever. What do you do with that? And do you handle it in a healthy way, or do you go off in left field?
One of the things you can find out too, excuse me, y'all. Oof. that thing that they say they can handle, do it. Then you will know. Listen, do it. I can handle it. Like if I tell her I can handle her working 7 days a week, blah blah blah, and she's at one point she was doing it. I did a couple times pull her to the side like, hey, you need, cause you tired. It wasn't about me really. It was about her.
It was about me, my health, and my rest. Because at the
you
time,
ain't getting no rest.
Probably for the first 5 years we were together, I did not have a day of rest.
No.
I literally worked
7 days.
7 days.
10 hours a day, every day.
So when he said, you might want to slow down, you might want to, check your schedule and rearrange some things, it wasn't because he wanted me to change. It was because he was concerned about my health and me wearing myself out. What if they're good at pretending?
Then you got to grown up decision.
Even before then, if they're good at pretending, you got to be even better with your gift of discernment.
Right. Yeah.
And with paying attention. And that's why it's important not to get physical too quick, not to let your emotions get involved. And you really got to get to know that person. Because I cannot emphasize this enough. If you listen to someone long enough, they will tell on themselves. It's just, are you paying attention? And sometimes we hear it, we see it, but we don't pay attention because we're thinking, no, that's not them. Or again, we off in that fantasy world. We got a whole different scenario, a whole different relationship that we in our head. We got a whole different family life that we in our head. You got a whole nother family, right? Whole nother family in your head versus who you were living in the house with. So if they're good at pretending, you got to be even better with your discernment.
You got to see. And one of my things is, just because you see it, you don't have to tell them you see it.
That
you don't
give me some.
You don't have to tell them you see it. You can just take notes. Like,
let me give you an example for that. So if your spouse is cheating, if you tell them, hey, I noticed X, Y, and Z,
they're gonna flip it.
But they're not ready to change, guess what? They're going to get better at cheating. Like, and the stuff that you were paying attention to, now they're going to do something different. And now you got to figure out the next thing. So don't show your hand.
Just listen. I learned that the hard way at a young age. Then I got older and realized, once again, see people on the street. I'm telling you, street people, they know stuff. A person from the streets told me the problem with men, because we was talking about men, is once they find out their woman doing something, they go back and tell her that they know she's doing it. He said, just take notes and watch them hang themselves, and then when they feet dangling, you could go to them and say, I already knew you was doing all that. So when you make your exit or when you will decide to shoot your move, you could be like, so and then they can say, because they feet dangling.
Right. If you see the evidence, you have the advantage because now you can make a determination whether you want to put up with it, support them through it, pray with them through it, or if you want to just, figure out what you want to do. And that's a choice that you have to make for yourself. That's not, well, why you and that. No, you make that choice. You don't have to bring it to their attention for them to have any input about it. That's your choice.
They're going to try to flip it on you anyway. Well, if you wouldn't,
what advice would you give to help people pay attention and know the difference from looking at potential and knowing deception for both men and women? So potential is crap.
I think I got potential.
Right. That's one of my favorite lines from Pretty Woman. You think I got potential? I don't, potential doesn't mean anything to me.
It wears out. Yeah, it wears out.
I don't.
Okay,
potential
so
doesn't
let me
mean
use
anything
myself
to
as an
me.
example.
Go ahead.
This lady saw a lot of potential.
Good night, Tanisha.
She saw a lot of potential in me, but that wore thin.
I wasn't basing my yes on his potential. But like I said, are you okay with how they are right now today if nothing ever changes?
But potential wears out. I could best use it with a draft pick. And say you pick this player and you see him as a great pick, but as the years go on, his potential and he ain't living up to it. What you thought he was gonna be when you drafted him at number one, it ain't. So now you have to make a decision. Do you want to keep, even in that scenario, it's a window, it's a ceiling that they give this player. You get 2 or 3 years to live up to your potential. After the third or fourth year, guess what? Somebody getting traded or cut. Because I'm not finna invest all this time in you and you suck. I'm not finna be in this relationship with you. Listen, we invested, we did, boo, but your ceiling is you reaching your ceiling and you not being. So now you bull junking me.
So I don't believe in banking on potential. Potential means absolutely nothing to me because potential only means something if that person wants to develop it. That's not for me to decide. That's absolutely personal. So me looking at your potential doesn't mean anything because if that person doesn't see their potential, if that person doesn't have any goals, then it really means nothing. So
we need to be cut
as the potential partner, as the person who is considering this person as a mate. Don't look at potential. Why are we so prone to want to look at potential? Right, but that's just like traditions. What's it for? What does it lead to? It has no spiritual value whatsoever.
Then
so
also you have to ask yourself this about the person. Am I willing to sit through this? Because you saw all the characteristic flaws in me. Mm-hmm. And you had to make a business decision. Mm-hmm. Do I want to be bothered with that? And even with men, yeah, you shape nice, blah, 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 blah. But when you strip all that away, do you want to be bothered with all that? Do you want to be bothered with what comes with that? Because, like you said, the ceiling, when you start looking at that person, you just going in circles and you having the same discussion and the same, you said, now you got to make a decision. Because to me, I learned, and everybody heard this, insanity is waking up, doing the same thing every day, expecting a different result. So if you still running around in a circle and that person's feeding you the same, baby, I'm a baby, I'm a do, baby, I'm a but.
Now, not at all saying that you need to treat your spouse like an NBA draft pick. We're talking about things to look for in advance because the question for the day was, how did you know that this person was the one? So a lot of what we've shared are things to pay attention to, look at, make a decision about before you ever say I do. So speaking of goals, do you feel every marriage should have them? Absolutely.
Yes.
Should each party have their own before entering into a relationship? Yes, as individuals, we should have individual goals. But when you come together, yes, you should have goals as a couple because you got to know where you're going. And not only that, one of the things I asked him early on was, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And the first time I asked, I didn't like the response.
I don't have an answer. She's like, what? I don't really know.
But I also understood everybody doesn't
the D
think.
word, didn't I?
What?
The D word.
No.
I didn't say the D word.
No.
I didn't.
Not the first time.
I said the same time. What's special? Was I still smoking weed then? I don't know that. I said that. Yeah, I was not in a good place.
So I always ask about goals because I'm very goal-minded. Ever since I can remember, I've always had goals.
If you're not with a person who want to see your marriage or your relationship evolve into something better, or if they, and she always get me with this, and yes, men, we creatures of habit, so we get comfortable, but comfortability or being comfortable isn't always good. It isn't always good. So sometimes you need
nothing grows in your comfort zone.
No, and you need people to nudge you. Hey, that's nice that you're doing that, but you should think about doing this.
One of the things that I do probably irks his nerves, but every year end of December, hopefully not on New Year's Eve, but I always ask, about sitting down and deciding what our goals are for the next year. Because if you can't even sit and decide, what you want to do as a couple, financially, where you want to be mentally, spiritually, even in your sexual relationship, what you want to try, whatever that looks like,
let's try it.
Let's have a conversation about that. Yeah, you want to at least have a
And
conversation
if you're not on the
about where you're
same
going.
page, and this is dangerous too,
Hmm.
as a married couple, uh, if you're not on the same page, it's kind of like sitting down having a discussion about, well, yeah, this is what you're doing in your marriage. You're trying to see what's the next level, where we going from here, because we both agreed that we didn't want to be in the same spot we were when we first in our first year of marriage. Like that's a negatory. But if we can't come to an agreement about where we're going, that's a problem. So that means now you got two different. You're not in tune. You're not
There's
one,
no unity,
and
there's
it's yeah,
division.
and it's gonna always it's that's going to be a problem. Because if I'm saying yay and she's saying nay, and we can't come to an agreement where it's like, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Let's try.
If I'm trying to go forward and he trying to stay where he is,
That's all
then
bad. That's bad.
we're not moving anywhere,
No.
and I'm not going to be in the same place I was the year before. That doesn't work for me. We are over our time. I know we went a little long this evening because we're not going to see you next week, but
we don't. I keep telling her we grown. We don't have anybody on there got to go.
Final thought.
No, just not only talking to each other, but comprehending what the other person is saying.
Very important.
Don't be listen. Tell them. Please do not say I don't want to deal with this right now, because that little thing you don't deal with,
it
a week
grows.
or two later, it become worse than what it was.
Look, that's just like the weeds in the yard. You don't pull them weeds, guess what? It end up being weed trees.
It'd be a jungle back there.
So if you don't deal with it, it grows. It doesn't go away. It grows.
It doesn't go away.
So make sure you deal with it
and kiss and hug. Well, I don't know about the kiss thing, but at least hug them and tell them I love you and mean it. Don't do it because it's just that's what we do. Because in closing, one of our favorite songs is the Like I'm Going to Lose You.
Oh yeah,
Meghan Trainor and John Legend. And when we listen to that song, oh my gosh, you talking about hitting home, because nobody is promised tomorrow. So we don't really have time to be beefing with each other. I ain't doing that. We finna love on this thing till Jesus come back.
That's right.
And I'm gonna try to act like we get along and agree on everything, because we do. we don't really have too many. Listen, just don't be each other's problem. That's all I gotta say. Don't be each other's problem. You got enough of that outside your house. If you got to come in the house and deal with craziness, you probably want to reevaluate what's going on.
That's all for this week, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Marriage Mondays. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.